Mario Maker is a great game, and I've played it to death. I've spent hours upon hours in both versions and have got plenty of fun from the series. However, there is one thing I wish was different, and in fact, it's something I wish more series have done. So what do I want changed? Well, I'll answer that and more right now. So without any further ado, let's dive straight in. To explain what Mario Maker's missed opportunity was, I first have to mention another series, Mario and Luigi. So first, answer this question: what is the best Mario and Luigi game? Well, the answer I see most often is Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. The game is also my personal favorite in the series as well, for many reasons. One of those reasons that I assume others agree with is the fact that you play as Bowser. Bowser is awesome, and the mainline Mario series tries to make Bowser look powerful and somewhat threatening. It really makes him look cool, so a game that lets you play as Bowser is a cool idea. In fact, any game that centers around a character that's not the main character is a cool idea. Games like Luigi's Mansion or Super Princess Peach just look interesting. And if those seem interesting, a game with Bowser looks even better. Playing as a side character is cool, but playing as the villain is far better. Because in most games, villains have far more power than you, which is why it's challenging and feels triumphant when you win. So the ability to take control of this power is obviously a really cool idea. Bowser's Inside Story actually lets us take this power, and it's really fun because of it. Being super strong with fire breath is just awesome. Now, what does that have to do with Mario Maker? Well, I have another question. What does Bowser do? Like, not in his free time or anything, but actually in the main game. Well, most of the time he takes Princess Peach, puts her in a castle, and sets traps for Mario to stop him from reaching her. Which is why, in Mario Maker, you should be playing as Bowser. Okay, maybe not Bowser himself, but at least one of his minions. That way, instead of talking to random birds and undo buttons, instead you talk to Bowser, Jr., the Koopalings, Kamek, maybe even some other minions like Koopa Troopa or Goomba. This would be so cool based on the premise alone. It would not only just be a good idea, but it would actually make this game canon, since instead of an omnipotent being making levels, it's just a Koopa making blueprints. Not only would this add to the aesthetic and the feel of the game, but it also adds more game ideas. If you're making these levels for Bowser or some other character, they might want to make a specific level, like maybe they ask for a level that has a specific time limit, enemies, level themes, or literally anything else. Maybe they could buy these levels for you in exchange for coins. Then you could use these coins to buy more level parts. That's just such a cool idea. Maybe you could be given an already made level and told to fix some unintended shortcuts. There's just so much potential. But again, even if you don't like any of these game mode ideas, just adding an interesting setting would go very far. As I've already said, playing as the villain is a lot of fun, and this game is perfect for you to be a villain. Literally, it fits so well. However, this game and this franchise isn't even the only game that could benefit from having a villain's perspective. Mean Bean Machine is just Puyo Puyo, but with a Robotnik aesthetic, and because of that, it becomes much cooler. But we don't just want games with a villain aesthetic, we also want games about the villain. Bowser's Inside Story is cool because it's built around Bowser and his abilities. You get to be Bowser. Just think of a game where you get to play as Robotnik and control an army of robots like Pikmin or something. One of my favorite games, Shovel Knight, lets you play 3 whole games as the villains. That's awesome. Why don't more games do this? Make a Minecraft puzzle game where you play as a creeper and have to sneak up on a player to kill him. How cool would that be? Or what about playing as GLaDOS and trying to set off traps in real time trying to capture another player? Now, to be fair, a lot of games do have villain versions. Kirby has plenty of Meta Knight and King Dedede side modes. Plants vs. Zombies has a versus mode where one player can place the zombies. FNAF just recently let you control Freddy in Security Breach. I mean, yeah, you don't get to jump scare people, but it's still something. The more and more games I play, the more and more villains I want to control. However, I don't think Nintendo is planning on using Bowser in his own game anytime soon. They want Bowser to be the straight villain, and they want the player to be the good guys. So I doubt Bowser will ever be getting his own series. Honestly, I've had this idea for a Mario TV show centered around a group of Bowser's goons at boot camp training to be minions, completing tasks, overcoming challenges. I think it'd be cool. However, I doubt Nintendo would actually ever do that, ever. But I can dream. But enough random ideas and examples. You understand what I'm trying to say. Villains are cool. Let us play as them more often. Oh, and yes, I know you can play as Bowser in some of the spin-off games, but that doesn't really count. It's cool, and I usually play as Bowser when I can, but it's not the same. But enough rambling. I could go on for hours and hours making more and more ideas. But this video is probably going to be irritating as it is since I talked about so many different topics, so I better stop. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye. Hey, so, do you guys like my idea? I always like this idea, and I think about it like all the time when playing lots of different games. And that show idea I had of like Bowser's Minions at like boot camp, I seriously have had that, and I started like writing ideas for episodes and stuff. One idea I had was one of the guys had a pet piranha plant called Petey, who at some point would get exposed to some like radiation or something, and then grow into a giant piranha, and that's like the backstory of Petey Piranha or something. I don't know. I really like the idea, but it's never gonna happen, so whatever.